So, hello everyone, I'm Ivor. I'm the Director of Talent and Leadership for EMEA, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. I'm joined by some distinguished guests from the EMEA executive team. Here in the studio, I have Sarra and Mariano. And beaming in on video conference, we also have Dawn. So, Dawn, would you like to start off and introduce yourself and say hello?
Hi everyone, I'm Dawn Rowlands. I'm the CEO for dentsu Africa. And I'm delighted to be able to share some insight into how we are looking at talent and the future of how we recruit and keep people excited about what we do every day.
Thank you. Thanks, Dawn. And Sarra, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And very nice to see everybody. I'm Sarra Adams. I'm the EMEA General Counsel. I head up the legal compliance and data protection team at dentsu. And again, thank you for the opportunity today to come and talk about this important topic.
Thanks, Sarra. Mariano, welcome to London.
Oh.
Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, definitely. Nice to meet you all. It's a pleasure to talk about talent. As many of you know, I'm leading Italy and the CMINAT cluster. So, thank you.
Thanks so much, Mariano. So, our panel are going to talk about future-ready talent. And at dentsu, we believe our future is built on the strength of our talent and also our ability to adapt to the changing workplace and the pressures and evolution of our industry. So let's maybe set the scene in terms of what do we mean by future-ready talent? And Dawn, would you like to kick us off?
Thanks, Ivor. I really believe that in this new world that we're operating in, curiosity is really required. And if you think about how fast things are moving, the speed at which you can actually access information, and if you're curious enough, you can actually get quite a lot accomplished. But where I find we really need to focus is on talent that has exceptional critical thinking. How do we really identify the problems that we need to apply that level of curiosity to and the level of agility that AI brings us? So I think going forward, certainly from our regional perspective, we'd be looking to hire talent that tick all three of those boxes and to merge our current talent base into thinking along those three areas.
Thanks, Dawn. And Sarra, any builds on that in terms of what you believe future talent readiness to be in your area of the business?
Yeah, so I completely agree with Dawn on the AI literacy or the AI competency. And I think that's about both understanding how to use AI, but also really understanding the risks that come with that of bias, hallucination, making sure the outputs are checked, and to Dawn's point that we are curious and challenging and making sure that actually whatever the output is sensible and real. And I think the other dimension for me is really the human aspect. I think Andre made this point earlier, we're a business of people, working for people, selling things to people. So the human element, the importance of empathy, of listening, of understanding different perspectives. I think people who have these skills and are happy to be challenged and to hear viewpoints that they don't necessarily agree with, I think that's really key. And then the other build I'd make on it, and I think again this is something that we're all experiencing. The world today is chaotic. So actually that ability to be flexible, adaptable, to deal with ambiguity, I think people who can develop those skills will be successful in the future.
Thanks, Sarra. Mariano, any other builds on what Dawn or Sarra said in terms of future ready?
Just trying to build something on top, since we are totally on the same page. I believe that the future-ready talent is not about what people know today, but mainly about how fast they can evolve tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Just another layer of complexity.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Mariano, I'm going to stick with you for the next question, if I may. Obviously, we're here to lead and serve our clients.
Yep.
And, we've talked about it all the way through our leadership meeting. It all starts off with clients, and then we match the right talent to what we require for those clients. What are the skills that clients are valuing most at the moment in your business, in your team? What are they asking us for?
I believe that we are in an era where it remarks a return of humanistic culture. So for sure, they look for specialization, vertical knowledge, but more and more, due to the complexity or the ambiguity that Sarra mentioned before, I believe that this kind of critical thinking, creative thinking is something that more and more is required from the client. And it wasn't a surprise when in January, at the end of Davos, have been published some report around the future of job in 2030. And if you look at this report, what surprised me was that 10 years ago, the future of jobs were related to vertical specialization, technical one,
Yep.
engineer, data scientist, and blah, blah, blah. Now, lateral thinking, resilience, so these diplomatic skills, so is part of the changement that we are experiencing every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of even pitching, Dawn, what are we seeing, in the pitch scenario these days in terms of the skills that our clients are looking to see on display?
Well, of course, they always want everything.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest challenge that we face is the juniorization in a lot of client organizations. I think the cost that they're expecting us to meet that level of juniorization with. So in other words, they're looking for cheaper resources. And the reality is that when you bring that to bear on a piece of business, they very quickly come back and say, look, actually what I really want is high level thinking. I want insight. I want people who can problem solve, who can think laterally. So the challenge you have is this matching the cost with the expectation. But I think they're also looking at us to say, how do you fail fast? What can you show us that's real? And I think this is one of our core values, right? Make it real. And they want to see this demonstrated to them in a way that gives them a level of security or confidence that in this chaotic world, someone's going to simplify it and make sense for them. So I think more and more in pitches, whatever's complex, we need to make super simple, and we need to be very bold and agile, in terms of how we actually demonstrate how quickly we can move, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a partner who's brave, who can move fast, and that can actually simplify this chaotic world for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose then, from our perspective, we're looking to be more agile than our most agile client, right, as well. And, when you've got clients like Microsoft and some of the other big tech companies in the world, that can be quite challenging. But we are upskilling our people, and we are developing our people. And we're happy to say we've got some great partners in the likes of Amplify, and we're upskilling in areas like integrated sales mastery. But you've got your own particular program that you've built as well through a number of years, Dawn. I'm just going to stick with you for a second. And that's Super Suits. Is it still called Super Suits?
Yes. We've actually added to that because what we wanted to do was ensure that we took clients along the journey. So we've actually extended that to include clients, not just our senior client leadership teams.
Okay.
And what we asked them to do to drive this critical thinking and the ability to kind of fall in love with the problem and bring us a real problem we can solve is that we ask them to bring us some of their biggest business challenges before we actually embark on that mentorship program. So we're actually working, as I said, we've now included clients on that journey, which is quite amazing. We just did a recent trip to Japan and we received, I think it was 15 briefs.
Wow.
That we were going to solve while we were together on this trip, which, is amazing because it's an immediate revenue generating opportunity.
Fantastic, Dawn. Great. And it's unique to dentsu as well, which is also fantastic.
Totally.
Love it. And again, just on the upskilling, you've got a great partnership in Italy with the University of SDA Bocconi.
SDA Bocconi, yeah. We are at the third edition, so I'm announcing for people that is connected from Italy that we closed the third edition with SDA Bocconi. The aim is yes, for sure, to develop some skills around sales, commercial, but mainly to help people to stay open, to have different counterpart, to get a different way of thinking, just to share our experience as we are doing now. Matching with people doing other job like professors, so they can give us a lot of tips to improve the way we connect with all the stakeholders around the company.
Fantastic, Mariano.
Also this year we will have a partnering about that.
Okay.
But we have many partnerships fully dedicated to education with some media vendor in Italy. We are supporting and sponsoring them to develop the new talent generation, just to align a different way of working. That is a matter that I know that is usually discussed at this time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's amazing to hear about our unique partnerships as well. Now, Sarra, you have got some upskilling and development going on with the legal team as well, don't you?
Yes, our focus is at this stage, well, we're doing a number of things actually. So we're upskilling our own team because obviously our client is the business. So we're upskilling our own team. Our group general counsel, Alison, is very, very keen that we use and deploy AI responsibly. So, and this is just one example, but next week we have an EMEA legal and compliance session about how we build common workflows using our AI tool. So for things like AI product reviews, how are we able to streamline these in a smart but also a responsible way? And I think a big thing of the client piece is trust. We have to be sure that we're doing and building these tools in the right way so that we're able to give the right advice to the business. The other comment I'd make about this session that we have is actually the people building and designing the workflows are certainly not the most senior people in the team.
Yeah.
And actually it really gives, I think, the younger, more probably tech-savvy members a real chance to sort of showcase their skills and actually teach the rest of us.
Fantastic. Good news. I'm going to stick with AI now just for a moment. And I know there's been a lot of conversation about AI, but we are, we talked about the fact that we still need us as humans in the system. The kind of balance between AI and a human-centric business is critical, right? And that's one of the challenges for us at the moment. And Sarra, just again, on your side, with the EU AI Act, for example, we have some challenges there to get our people up to speed, to be proficient and comfortable and curious and bold, but also compliant and not get ourselves into trouble, right?
Yes, is the short answer. So anybody who hasn't heard of it, there's a major regulation actually in force in EMEA at the moment called the EU AI Act. One of the requirements of that act, and again it's in flux at the moment, is that our people are sufficiently literate. But putting the legal requirements to one side, actually we have AI as a core part of our strategy, and it's a core part of how we both work internally and for clients. So from a business perspective, it makes sense that our people understand both the risks and limitations of AI. So as part of our EMEA program team, and this element is led by Kate Slade, who's our responsible AI officer, we're designing a literacy program. So a lot of you last year would have done the basic e-learning. The focus this year is really on what we call more the sort of high-risk groups of people. So, and I mean high risk in the sense that they're dealing with AI day to day. So we're designing modules for our AI builders. The idea being that actually we get the governance right from the get-go by design. We're also partnering with HR to develop a module for them, because obviously AI in HR use cases, really high risk. You're dealing with hiring, potentially firing of people. So again, those systems require a higher level of governance. And then also for sort of procurement and legal and compliance, I think the thing to say, it's important to have regard to your role in the organisation. What an executive might need to know about AI will be very different to someone who's selling a solution to a client. So it's about getting the balance right. I think the other thing, if anyone hasn't had a look, we have an AI hub. There's some great materials on there. There's some great materials on Dentsu University. But I think in anyone's career, the best thing you can do here is to educate yourself as much as you can. There's a lot of learning out there. And the other thing I'd say is really experiment with AI. The more you use it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Brilliant to hear that the training is coming as well. I think there's a lot of comfort in that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Dawn, on that balance, you mentioned at the top of the conversation between AI and human-centric. Do you have a view there? How are you managing that piece in your business at the moment?
I think as a high-performance business, we've always been focused on kind of tasks and the kind of skills required. But I think now we just really need to double down on that. We've moved our KPI setting to a quarterly process.
Okay.
Because you get to the end of the year and you realize the whole world's changed around you.
Yeah.
And you know, we're really trying to focus on those deadlines, and I actually think that as managers of people or leaders of people, I think we're going to become more like project managers, because as we move into very product-driven business where we're selling products to clients to simplify things, building those products, selling those products, making them real, you know, the actual execution part, I think is critical. I personally feel that when we look at people in terms of how we hire going forward, all the kind of skills that we're looking for in our business at the moment, this curiosity and like being able to be a really good critical thinker and really understand a problem before you start burning resources on it is important. But I think people's ability or kind of just the quality of being driven to complete that is another skill that's going to become critical, because the things are just going to move faster. The KPIs, you know, are going to move. As I said, we're already moving to a quarterly review basis. So a lot of change for people that are managing people and at the same time agents to deliver a high performance result.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the modules that we have in the business for upskilling our people managers is called Me to We. It's particularly for our newer leaders in the business or people coming into the business to help them to understand dentsu, but also give them a baseline of capability. And we are building in areas like you've just described into that training as well, which is really important for us. Mariano, any particular builds on what Dawn has said? I know Sarah and Dawn have covered it up quite well.
On the AI, we discussed 30 minutes before the session about that. I want to share my point of view. In my view, AI should scale solution and the role of people is to explain the meaning. So I'm not able to split what AI can do for us. We obviously, as you already said, we have to learn what AI can do for us and what cannot do. But at the end, the combination of solution technology, AI, need to be backed by human.
Yeah.
In my interpretation, or the project that we are managing, rolling out in Italy through AI, combine at the beginning people, just to have the people able to do the right question to AI tool. That is a critical is a critical point. And at the end of the process, another control from coming from human.
Okay.
So the input and the output are human.
Yes.
At the core, we can use any kind of technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Understood. And what we're trying to achieve, I suppose, is to do more higher value, strategic thinking, relationship type of activities with the client, and let the AI and the agents to do what the heavy lifting, I call it, as such, right? The way you've maybe described that, yeah?
In terms of activity, honestly, at the moment, we are not delegating so much to AI. There are some area like production, where the automatization is probably one of the activity where we are we got a lot of demand from the client, just to find some efficiency in some way. We are automatizing some manual task in the media side, just to speed up the production or the building of solution. Where we are not seeing any impact is on the strategy at the moment. It can help to get more insight more quickly, but there is no way to build a strategy starting from using only the artificial intelligence, even if we are using or developing some agentic. So there is still a big gap between the two kind of output.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mariano. Right, a slight pivot here, and I want to talk a little bit about our ways of working and hybrid working. And hybrid isn't a policy for us. I believe it's actually a leadership capability in terms of being able to manage people working in different ways. Our competitors are mandating a return to the office 4 days a week. Publicis have done it a year or so ago. WPP came out recently and said the same thing. They're even insisting you have to be in on Mondays. We've decided, to be a little bit more flexible. It's not all the same, and it's different in every country in EMEA. But Dawn, is our hybrid way of working, do you think, helping us retain our great talent, making them more satisfied with the work environment and that flexibility and that choice? And I suppose hiring great talent as well. What have you seen there, Dawn?
So I think it depends very much on your environments, because I think that in many markets that we operate in, being in an office with amazing Wi-Fi, electricity, air conditioning, and peace is a haven from all the chaos of daily life.
Yeah.
But I definitely think what the hybrid model drives is a lack of an emotional contract between colleagues. And for me, this is the saddest point. The fact that someone can come onto a call, not switch their camera on, deliver some bad news about, sorry, I didn't get round to it today, and switch their camera off, and I think this is the part that we need to work harder at. How do we build those emotional contracts amongst our teams and our colleagues? And I think that's the bit where the challenge comes in for me. I think what we've tried to do is to really show what showing up in the dentsu way means. So, real clarity on cameras on, dress appropriately, be prepared, etc. And it sounds like very basic things, but amongst younger colleagues,
Yeah.
we've had one or two people showing up in a dressing gown. So I think it's trying to balance people's outputs with their what makes them feel comfortable. And I guess this is the same thing in a classroom if you think about it. Wearing a school uniform could be quite uncomfortable and detract from your actual ability and your ability to think and concentrate. So it's kind of a big balance. But I think we just need to be clear around how we show up and how we treat and respect each other as fellow dentsu colleagues.
Yeah. Thank you, Dawn. Sarah, any particular builds on that from what Dawn said? It's a hard one to follow that because I think she's covered quite a lot of it.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I've had a call with anybody in their
pajamas.
dressing gown. And I think everyone's also been fully dressed, so I
There's always a
take that
first
as a win.
Actually, Mariano, your office is slightly different in that you do have a lot of people turning up every day, right, in the office in Milan?
Yeah, we have a smart working policy.
Yeah.
Based on the norms. Around Europe, there are markets where this is mandate from unions. So there are different laws that we need to respect and consider when we build a smart working policy. It's a complex matter since. Just considering the last check-in that we did, we collected more than 1,000 different requests around smart working.
Really?
So it's complex to solve 1,000 issues for 1,000 people. So this is the reason why it takes so many time to find the right solution. I'm a fan of, and in Italy is a common theme in these days, around the short week.
Okay.
There are a lot of companies in our countries in Italy that decided to work 4 days per week, then using some kind of holiday that furlough there is in Italy. So I'm reading a lot and collecting information from those companies in order to understand that if there is a different interpretation of smart working.
Yeah.
I'm totally agree with Dawn. We have to take care about our culture, the connection between people. We cannot manage the day at the office in the same way we manage the day at home, spending 8 hours on VC. And if we do the same when we are at the office, it means that we can stay at home for 5 days per week.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true. We're running out of time. I'm conscious of that. I wanted to just ask one more question, maybe a quick answer from everyone. I'm going to go to you first, Sarah, if I may. Okay. What is the one piece of advice you would give to young Sarah coming into work for the first time next week? First job ever?
I think lawyers tend towards perfection.
Okay.
But I would say probably in a business like this, probably trying to bring certainty is probably more important. So I think trying to give an answer, knowing it might not be amazing or completely right, but it's informed. Yeah. I think would be my advice to myself.
Super. Thank you. Mariano, to you, what's your advice to young Mariano?
My advice is for jump as soon as you can on the challenge things, because it's where you can learn more.
Okay. Okay.
In other way, leave the comfort zone at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Brilliant. And Dawn, what's your advice to Dawn?
Stop worrying about the future and make it happen.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, Thank you all very much. I've enjoyed the conversation. I hope everyone else has as well. Thank you to Sarah, to Dawn, and to Mariano.